Hello and welcome to your favorite cloud learning channel, Cloud Expert Solutions. And welcome back to AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate Certification Bootcamp. Today we are tackling a service that brings traditional high performance file system into the cloud, Amazon FSx. While S3 is great for object storage and EFS for general Linux file system, many enterprise applications require specific file system types like Windows SMB share or high performance Lustre. Amazon FSx provides these fully managed file systems. Now let's review the roadmap for today's session. We'll start with the core problem that FSx solves. We'll review Amazon FSx and different options available from AWS. We'll examine the key feature of Amazon FSx for Windows file server and Amazon FSx for Lustre, which are the primary services you will encounter during the certification exam. We will also review FSx for NetApp ONTAP and OpenZFS options. We will also cover deployment options and multi-AZ configurations vital for high availability. This agenda is designed to give you a comprehensive understanding for your certification exam. On behalf of the Cloud Expert Solutions team, I would like to thank you for joining this bootcamp. Let's get started. The main problem Amazon FSx solves is the gap between generic cloud storage and specific commercial application requirements. Many enterprise applications were built for Windows file share using the SMB protocol. Now migrating these to generic Linux-based file system or NFS-based file system might require complex rewrites. FSx for Windows provide a native Windows file system experience. Similarly, high-performance computing workload needs the massive throughput of Lustre. FSx meet these specific needs as a fully managed service, meaning you don't have to worry about underlying infrastructure, hardware failure, or patching the file server operating system. Now let's review the file system types available with FSx. FSx offers FSx for Windows file server, FSx for Lustre, FSx for NetApp ONTAP, and FSx for NetApp OpenZFS. Now let's review them one by one. Amazon FSx for Windows file server is designed to be 100% compatible with existing Windows environment. It presents standard SMB file shares and Windows NTFS or New Technology File System. Crucially, it integrates seamlessly with Microsoft Active Directory and making authentication and permission management easy for you. You have two storage options. Either you can go for SSD for high performance latency sensitive workloads like SQL Server database or VDI environment, and the other option is HDD or hard drive for more general purpose cost effective storage like user home directories. It offers both single AZ and multi-AZ deployments for high availability. You can also configure hybrid setup and connect your on-premises workloads using either AWS site-to-site VPN or direct connect connection. It can scale up to hundreds of petabytes of data and millions of IOPS, and the data is backed up daily to Amazon S3. This is your go-to service for moving any Windows-based file workloads to the cloud without rewriting a single line of code. Now, during the certification exam, if the question mentions SMB protocol, Active Directory, corporate file share, or migrating existing Windows application or SQL Server environment, then the potential answer could be Amazon FSx for Windows file server. Moving to Amazon FSx for Lustre. Amazon FSx for Lustre serves a completely different audience. This is for high performance computing or HPC. Lustre is a popular open source parallel file system for massive throughput and speed. FSx for Lustre is a POSIX compliant, so it works seamlessly with Linux based applications. A killer feature is its ability to link directly to an S3 bucket. Your S3 data appears as a mounted file system, allowing compute clusters to process data stored in S3 at high speed, and it can also write the data back to Amazon S3. In terms of deployment options, you can use either scratch deployment option, and that is applicable for temporary data processing, or bursty workload. Under this deployment option, data is not replicated, and the other option is persistent if you need for long-term storage. This is the mode you should use when you need speed and parallelism for massive scientific or data analytics job. In terms of storage classes, it provides SSD or solid state drive, intelligent tiering, and hard disk drive or HDD option. It can scale up to hundreds of GB and millions of IOPS with sub-millisecond latency. This scaling makes it ideal if you have workload like high performance computing, machine learning training, video rendering, or big data analytics job. During the certification exam, if you see terms like HPC or high performance computing, machine learning, video rendering, or massive throughput, that points directly to Amazon FSx for Lustre. Now let's move to Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP. If you are not familiar with what is NetApp ONTAP, then let me take 30 seconds to decipher that for you. NetApp is an American data infrastructure company that provides data storage, management, and cloud services both for on-premises and cloud environments. Then what is ONTAP? ONTAP is the proprietary operating system used by NetApp storage system. Now you must be asking what ONTAP does. ONTAP manages data storage, and it handles how and where data is saved, organized, and retrieved within the storage system. It also makes the data available, and it allows many different computers and applications to access the shared data smoothly and securely. And last but not least, it handles complex tasks easily. It provides advanced features like backup, data recovery, and making data more efficient that would otherwise be very difficult to manage manually. Now let's review FSx for NetApp ONTAP. FSx for NetApp ONTAP is a big deal for enterprises that already use NetApp infrastructure in their on-premises, and it provides a fully managed ONTAP experience in the cloud. It supports NAS protocol like SMB and NFS, and it also supports SAN protocol like iSCSI. We have already covered SMB, NAS, and iSCSI protocols in our previous module while discussing file gateway. FSx for NetApp ONTAP provides features like data compression, deduplication, and snap mirror replication. FSx for NetApp ONTAP is ideal if you have a use case to migrating existing ONTAP environment, like if you want to perform lift and shift of SAN or NAS drive from on-premise to cloud. It also supports diversified operating systems and services, and it works with Linux, Windows, Mac OS, VMware Cloud on AWS, Amazon Workspaces, Amazon AppStream 2.0, Amazon EC2, ECS, EKS. You can understand the variety of services it can integrate with. During the certification, if the scenario involving NetApp infrastructure or snap mirror replication or requiring iSCSI SAN access, then the answer is Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP. Now let's understand one architecture and how to deploy NetApp ONTAP. This is an enterprise architecture to deploy FSx for NetApp ONTAP, and the focus here is deployment for a Windows workload. Now let's understand the different components. First, the on-premise data center and the cloud environment that are connected using AWS Direct Connect. You need either a Direct Connect or a VPN connection. The HPC workload running Windows is deployed in the AWS cloud. The Active Directory is deployed in the on-premise environment, and Active Directory is using for authentication purpose. And in this architecture, the access layer running on Windows are deployed in the on-premise environment. Now let's move forward and let's review FSx for OpenZFS. If you are not familiar with OpenZFS and why should you use that, let me decipher that for you. OpenZFS is an open source enterprise grade file system and logical volume manager known for its robust data integrity features, high performance, and flexible storage management capabilities. Now let's review why do we need OpenZFS file system at first place. Traditional file systems can silently corrupt data without you knowing until it's too late, and this feature is known as bit rot. On the other hand, OpenZFS generates checksum for every block of data. When you read data, ZFS verifies the checksum, and if the data does not match, it automatically attempts to heal the data using a redundant copy. Now we know what is OpenZFS and why we need that. Now let's review Amazon FSx for OpenZFS. FSx for OpenZFS provides a high performance, fully managed OpenZFS environment. This is popular in high performance, data intensive Linux and Unix environment. Amazon FSx for OpenZFS delivers up to 2 million IOPS with latency of hundreds of microseconds. It has complete support for ZFS features like instant point-in-time snapshot and data cloning. FSx for OpenZFS makes it easy for you to replace your on-premises file server with AWS. By combining the power of OpenZFS data management capabilities with the high performance and cost efficiency, FSx for OpenZFS enables you to build and run high performance data intensive applications. Amazon FSx for OpenZFS file systems are broadly accessible from Linux, Windows, macOS, VMware on Cloud, Amazon Workspace, Amazon AppStream 2.0, Amazon EC2, ECS and EKS like the previous one. FSx for OpenZFS is compatible with industry standard NFS protocols like V3, V4.0, 4.1, 4.2. During the certification exam, if you encounter a scenario which is asking OpenZFS functionalities like data-intensive Linux or Unix workloads or built-in snapshot and cloning, then the question is hinting towards Amazon FSx for OpenZFS. Now let's review different FSx deployment options. For your certification exam, it is crucial to understand the deployment options. You can deploy file system as either single AZ or multi-AZ. Single AZ is cheaper and offer faster failover within that availability zone, and single AZ is suitable for development or test environment. However, if you have a production workload, then you should go for multi-AZ, and multi-AZ is the standard for production workloads. It synchronously replicates your data across two availability zones for high availability and durability. It also supports automatic failover, which is typically happening under 60 seconds. For the certification exam, please remember this. You can also dynamically scale storage capacity and performance of your FSx file system as your needs evolve, and it does not require any downtime. Next, we'll go to AWS Management Console and we'll review FSx in action. Back to my AWS Management Console, from the service search option, I am going to type FSx, the first one in the service search list. I do not have any existing FSx file system. Let's create together. I'll click Create File System. Here you have four options. Either you can use FSx for NetApp ONTAP, FSx for OpenZFS, FSx for Windows File Server, and FSx for Lustre. Let's select FSx for Windows File Server. Here is a quick summary about the file server. We'll click Next. While creating the file server, you have two options. Either you can use Quick Create or Standard Create. Let's use Standard Create. You have to provide a name which is optional. I have used the name as CS FSx Demo. You can choose whatever the name you want. Now in terms of deployment options, either you can use multi-AZ or single AZ. Now single AZ has two variety. One is single AZ1, which is the previous generation. But if you need NVMe cache, then you should use single AZ2. For this demo, we are going to choose multi-AZ. In terms of storage type, you have either SSD or HDD that we have reviewed. The storage capacity, which is mandatory, let's provide 300 GB. As we have selected the storage class as SSD, here I have option provision IOPS. Either you can go with automatic, that means 3 IOPS per GB, or you can use user provisioned. I have selected 300, that is why by default I have 900 IOPS. But if you have a bigger requirement, then you can use that. Let's choose 10,000. Throughput capacity, you can choose here. The recommended is 256 MB per second. Let's choose whatever you want. In terms of network, here you have to select your VPC, your preferred subnet and the standby subnet. In terms of network type, you have either IPv4 or dual stack. I'll go with IPv4. Now Windows authentication. Since we are creating FSx for Windows file server, we need a Windows Active Directory. I do not have any Windows Active Directory, neither AWS managed nor self-managed, and without this Windows authentication, we won't be able to proceed further. What we can do, we can go back and choose FSx for Lustre. Let's see. We'll create FSx for Lustre. Here the options are different. Now in terms of deployment and storage class, I will use persistent SSD. Maybe the throughput 250 MB per terabyte. Next we have to populate the storage capacity. Since we have selected throughput as 250 MB per second per terabyte, that is why the minimum will be 19.2 terabyte. Let's provide 19.2. Now throughput capacity we have, metadata configuration, automatic. I do not need anything here. In terms of encryption option, you can use AWS key or you can enter your own key. In terms of data repository, here you have the path. For this certification, you don't have to see all those advanced options. Now the next is we have to review. In this screen, you can review all the options you have selected, and the final step would be create file system. Please remember, if you are going to create this, AWS is going to charge you real money. I don't have any use case. That is why I'll exit from this step. Back to my PPT again, and we came near conclusion for this module. Now let's have a quick summary of what we have learned in this module. Amazon FSx is your solution when Amazon S3 or EFS won't cut it due to specific application need or performance requirement. When it comes to FSx, AWS manages the whole service and you don't have to do anything. During the certification exam, choose FSx when you need a specific commercial file system like Windows, Lustre, OpenZFS or a NetApp ONTAP. FSx for Windows is perfect for legacy Windows applications and corporate file shares. FSx for Lustre is for high performance computing need, often linking directly to Amazon S3. During the certification exam, be prepared to match the file system types and the appropriate use cases, and AWS loves to do that. You can expect 1 to 2 questions from this module. That wraps up this module. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more AWS exam preparation courses and cloud certification bootcamps. Got questions or feedback? Drop them in the comment. We love to hear from you. Thanks for learning with us at Cloud Expert Solutions. You are now one step closer to crushing your exam. See you in the next module.